I've been using the Amazon Echo for almost 2 years now, and during that time a lot of improvements and features have been added, with some being a lot more useful than others. There have also been a lot of related products that have come out, like the Echo Dot, the Google Home, and the NVIDIA Spot. So I wanted to do a follow-up review to separate some of the fantasy from the reality in putting these kinds of devices to practical use in your house. To get the most out of these kinds of products takes a little understanding of what situations they work and don't work best in, as well as investing the time getting them set up to work properly. If you expect too much from them, you could set yourself up for a lot of frustration and disappointment. And even Mark Zuckerberg, with all his resources and talent, wasn't able to create such a robust personal assistant for his own house. But as I built up a lot of usage history and experience with the Echo over time, I wanted to make a video to distill these down to what I found to be the most value-added and everyday helpful commands, and not just present more idealized usage scenarios that you'll see in a lot of commercials or other reviews.
Alexa, what's on the calendar today?
You have 12 events scheduled.
So I really highly question the usefulness of having the Alexa tell you how many appointments you have in the morning. I mean, if you go to bed without knowing you have 12 appointments the following morning, you're already f***ed. Now the second thing they show here is ordering products. Let's see how well that works out.
Alexa, it's time to reorder some paper towels.
Okay, order placed.
Alexa, order me some paper towels.
Amazon's choice for paper towels is Brawny Paper Towels, giant 24 count. It's $31.79 total including tax. Would you like to buy?
Alexa, stop. Alexa, order me some tape.
I found multiple matching items. The first is Scotch double-sided tape with dispenser, 3/4 by 300 inches, 237. It's not Prime eligible, so I can't order it for
Alexa, stop.
Should-
So you can see it's so stupid. I could order that stuff in about 2 seconds just going online. Alright, then there's skills like ordering pizza here, which is what they show.
Alexa, ask Domino's to send me my last order.
Okay, order placed.
Now something like that, I mean, I don't typically order the same pizza every single time, and even in the rare instances you do, it just takes a lot of setup, and it just works too infrequently to even be useful to me. So you can see, just because the Echo can do things doesn't necessarily mean you want to use it to do those things. On the other hand, the Amazon Echo is still a really useful device, and what I've learned is that it's most useful when you limit it to things that don't overcomplicate the situation. And one of the ways you do this is to avoid functions where you have to remember a long list of string or syntax, or where you're forced to say things in an awkward or too unnatural way. You gotta just keep things as simple and direct as possible, because there's a huge mental overhead in trying to remember a list of all possible commands and verbal combinations, to the point where it just outweighs the convenience of using the device in the first place. A lot of times I found myself struggling mid-sentence to recall the correct command, and the moment you have to make any extra effort using the device is the moment you lose the benefit of it. So with that, I'd like to demo the handful of killer functions that I think work amazingly well and make the Echo worth having and really tough to live without.
So the first thing I want to show you is just that you can set the wake word on the device to 4 different things. You can call it Alexa, Amazon, Echo, or computer. Now, Echo's pretty cool because it's only 2 syllables and it's really short, but let's just go ahead and use computer just for fun. Now, in my opinion, one of the best things you can do with the Amazon Echo is be able to control your lights. So let me show you how that works here. Computer, ceiling lights on.
Okay,
Computer, floor lights on.
okay,
Computer, basement lamps 100%.
okay,
Computer, turn the basement lights off.
okay.
Being able to control lights is my favorite feature of the Amazon Echo. I think it's their killer feature. While it does give you a lot of convenience, you know, when you're already sat down, you don't have to get up and turn the lights off, so it's ultimate in laziness. There is one issue with it. So if you have a big room or a mismatch of lights and you don't want to spend a ton of money, because usually you have to get a Wi-Fi smart bulb like a Philips Hue bulb and put that into every socket or every lamp you have, and that can really get expensive. And if you're only able to control half the lights with the Amazon Echo in a room, it obviously defeats the whole purpose of being able to voice control, because you have to get up and turn the other lights off. There is solutions though for that. So here in my living room as an example, I have 7 lights in the ceiling, and it's just controlled by this one switch. So the way, instead of getting all new 7 bulbs that are Wi-Fi controlled or that speak with Echo, I just get this one Insteon switch, which comes with a hub, and then the Amazon Echo can talk to the switch. And if you have lamps in the room or other, chandeliers or something like that, you can add these switches, and you can, to control your lamps, you can get something like this Belkin Wemo switch. This Wemo switch actually will track the energy usage in its app as well, so it's kind of nice. But this just turns things on and off. So this can speak to the Amazon Echo independently. Or you can go something like this Insteon plug, which does the same thing, but it adds brightness controls, and there's physical buttons on the side you can use to control it. And this can talk to the Insteon hub as well. So you get a lot of compatibility advantages with the Amazon Echo, and then what happens is if you, in your whole house, or in, for example, my living room, what I do is in the Alexa app, you can just group these devices together. So I can group my ceiling lights by grouping this switch, and grouping that with the lamp that's plugged into here, or a lamp that's plugged into this device. You group them all, call it living room, and then you can have Alexa control your living room simply by saying, Alexa, turn the living room off. There's sometimes you have lamps that maybe use a halogen bulb, and Philips doesn't really offer a halogen controlled bulb, so that gives you, there's some other solutions out there, which is nice. With that being said, you don't always really necessarily want to control your lights with an Amazon Echo, I found out, and let me show you what I mean by that. And here's an example in the bedroom. So usually when you walk in the bedroom, you're just going to flip the light on really quick. But with the Echo, there can be a little bit of delay. Alexa, turn the bedroom lights on. So you can see by this time I'm already halfway in the room and I had to go through some darkness. Whereas usually you just pass through the door, you're just going to hit the light switch anyway. So it's not really that great. Now you might say, well, when you're in bed, you can just tell the lights to go off. That's true, but the other considerations, if you're sleeping with somebody, every time you talk to it, you're going to disturb that person, so it's not necessarily the best to have that control, especially when the light's so close to you. So if I'm laying here, you can just reach over and turn the light off. I mean, how lazy do you want to be? So your mileage might vary just depending on how much you might disturb people using one of these in the bedroom. We've definitely found a couple really awesome uses for it. One of them is being able to set an alarm clock without even having to roll out of bed at all. Alexa, set an alarm for 8 a.m.
Alarm set for 8 a.m. tomorrow.
The other thing is being able to check the weather first thing when you wake up in the morning is convenient. Alexa, what's the weather like?
Right now in Marietta, it's 64 degrees with cloudy skies. Today's forecast has clouds and showers, with a high of 69 degrees and a low of 57 degrees.
The other thing I use it sometimes for is when I'm reading in bed and want to define a word. It's pretty neat to be able to just holler it out. Alexa, what does brocades mean?
The term brocades has two different meanings. One, weave a design into textiles. Two, thick, heavy, expensive material with a raised pattern.
And the last thing we found ourselves using it the most for is just setting the temperature right before we go to bed, so that's really convenient. Alexa, set the house temperature to 74.
House is already set to 74.
So one of the most useful functions I found with the Echo, which was a little surprising to me how much I use it, is just being able to set simple timers and alarms throughout the day to remind me of different things. And one place that's really useful is here in the kitchen for obvious reasons. They might say, well, why don't you just come over here and use the stove? Well, there's big advantages in not having to walk over to the stove and find the buttons on here. And usually in the kitchen you're chopping something or otherwise busy. The other thing with having it in the kitchen is you can do a lot of measurement conversions, so that's nice if you do a lot of cooking, so cups to quarts and tablespoons, teaspoons, and things like that. And obviously the more of these Echoes and Amazon dots that you have around the house, the more convenient it is to set these kind of timers to remind you to do different things. Alexa, set a timer for 7 minutes.
7 minutes, starting now.
So one thing that's awesome you can do with the Amazon Echo is hook it up to control your thermostat and set the temperature in your house. So it does require a thermostat that can talk with the Amazon Echo. And in my case, I use a Nest, which I really like, but it saves you a lot of time having to go all the way upstairs or all the way from the kitchen, having to walk upstairs and set the thermostat. You can just set it from basically wherever you are, depending on how many Echoes or dots you might have throughout your house. Let me show you how it works. Computer, set the house temperature to 74.
Setting house heat to 74.
So that's super convenient to be able to do. Alexa, what's the temperature in here?
According to House, it's currently 74 degrees.
Alexa, what time does Home Depot close?
The Home Depot on Dallas Highway is open from now until 9 p.m.
Alexa, what time does the UPS store close?
The UPS store on Whitlock Avenue is open from now until 6:30 p.m.
So it will pick those closest kind of stores based on whatever address you have input into the Alexa app for each of the devices. So for this one, you'll need Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar, but it works really well. Alexa, add a dentist appointment at 10 a.m. on Wednesday to my calendar.
I'll schedule dentist appointment on Wednesday, February 22nd at 10 a.m., okay?
Okay.
Okay, I've added that.
Computer, call me an Uber.
There is an UberX about 10 minutes away from 2817 Gracewood Drive Northeast. Would you like me to order it?
No thanks.
Okay, goodbye.
Letting go the back axle at 160 k's.
Computer, what is 160 kilometers per hour in miles per hour?
160 kilometers per hour is 99.42 miles per hour.
All is well with the world.
There's a lot of ways to expand the functionality of your Amazon Echo 2. One of the main ways is to enable skills. And skills are just different little apps, basically, that can run on the Echo. You can find that in the skills store. And there's a lot of different ones. I've not really personally found too many to be that useful in there. They have games and things like that, so it's kind of fun to check out if you're interested. But what I do use is a service called IFTTT. And with that, you can go to ifttt.com or download their app and enable a lot of different services that allow Amazon Echo to communicate with different things in different apps. So one example is like you can say trigger it to do some color flows through your hue lights just by different commands. But there's two that I really found in there that I want to share with you that are really awesome. So, when you add things to your shopping list with Amazon Echo, it will put it in the Alexa app, and the problem is that I found you can't really rearrange the order of the list. So when you're out shopping in the store, it's just a pain in the butt because you're running all around. You can't edit it or cross things off really easily. So what me and my wife do is we use an app called Wunderlist. And IFTTT allows the Amazon Echo to speak to Wunderlist. So anytime we add an item to the shopping list, say like, Alexa, add soy sauce to the shopping list.
I've added soy sauce to your shopping list.
Basically, when I do that, that soy sauce will show up in my Wunderlist app and my wife's Wunderlist app. So whoever's out shopping for the items can just get them really quick, and the list will always be updated, and you can rearrange it, and it makes it a lot more efficient to shop when you're in store. So it works really, really good. The other really useful service I found on IFTT is the ability to just call my phone. So you guys may lose your phone a lot. I know I definitely do around my house, sometimes sitting under a blanket or something like that. And with that service, it gives me the ability to call it. So all I have to do is say, Alexa, trigger my phone.
Sending that to IFT.
And it takes a minute, but it will eventually call this and ring it, and then I can just locate it really quick. There it is right there. So I found that to be really useful. And there's a lot of other useful ones in there. It just depends how much you want to work to set it up. And usually most of them are pretty easy. There's one major feature I waited to talk about until the end, and that's the ability to play music, audiobooks, and podcasts through the speaker on the Echo. The speaker on the Echo is about as good as quality as a similar sized Bluetooth speaker, with the Echo Dot being slightly better than the speaker on a mobile phone. But I don't use either for listening to music or other audio really, and that's mostly just because listening by calling out a specific artist or genre isn't the way I generally choose what music to listen to, which is almost always via a playlist. And I certainly don't know what the names of specific songs are. Although you can call out playlists by name and assign your favorite music service in the Alexa app, I've found that using the voice commands to play audio just isn't accurate enough in my experience and just leads to frustration and a lot of repeating yourself. Also, when I listen to music, I just prefer listening through real speakers, and although you can connect a Dot to a single stereo system with an auxiliary cable, I typically stream my music to multi-room speakers using Google Chromecasts, which is something Amazon devices aren't currently able to do. But you may find the audio and speaker-related capabilities a lot more useful for your own specific situation. All in all, the Amazon Echo is pretty much a must-have device for me at this point. And over the 2 years I've had it, they've added all kinds of features and connected products, and it just keeps getting better. I've become a lot more reliant on it in my day-to-day life, and when I don't have it around, it's definitely noticeable. If you're thinking about getting one or have been comparing it to a Google Home, I can say that the Echo is a hands-down better product. I have a Google Home and almost never use it. I thought that having the search capability would be a huge advantage over the Echo, but I've realized doing good searching really requires selecting the best results from a bunch of displayed options anyway. And for the most part in my testing, anything I'm able to get answers from for Google, Amazon Echo is pretty much able to do the same thing. Now, no review can completely cover everything an Amazon Echo or Dot can do, but I've tried to highlight the most practical uses I've found based on my own history, and hopefully it's helped you out. The Echo is $179, which is kind of expensive, but if you don't plan on really using the built-in speaker, I think you still can get a lot of benefit and convenience out of an Echo Dot or even two. But anyways, thanks a lot for watching. You all take care.